This morning's lecture is called How to Become a Master Coach Without Ever Paying Michael Neill Another Cent Unless You Want to. Okay. Because here's how it works. But I'm not.
But if we want to, can we?
Yeah, because I gotta be honest, I'm fun. Right? But let's get to the point, right? Like there are only two things, there are only two ways that you get better. And they will be true forever. They are true for me 30 plus years into doing this. You get better as you deepen your grounding, which means you get better every time you explore what it means to be human. Every time you inquire into some aspect of what it is to be human, not make a study of it, not do research, which means type into Google and pretend that my results aren't skewed to my previous biases, right? Just actually look for yourself to see how things work. You will become a more impactful coach. Every minute, and this is so cool, it's not quite soapbox cool, but it's cool. Right? Every minute you spend enjoying your life, loving what you love, you are becoming a more impactful coach. There's this wonderful audio where Sid says, he does this beautiful spiritual thing. And then he kind of pauses and he goes, all I'm really saying is be happy. And everyone laughs because that's so outlandish. Right? But that's how you become a more impactful coach. Coach people. That's how you become a more impactful coach, because you cannot help but learn. We are made to learn by doing. We're made to literally in the real time, that the system is designed to learn from real-time feedback, but we try to learn up here. One of my favorite quotes for, I think I first used this quote in 1988. If people learned to walk and talk the way we teach them to read and write, everybody would limp and stutter. Right? We're not made to learn the way we're taught. We're made to learn in situ. And so no matter how many courses you go on, it will be those moments where you have insight, which comes from exploring what it means to be human. Those moments you go higher simply because you are in the feeling of higher. And those moments where you are real time showing up and being with somebody and responding to what shows up, you will learn. Now, there will be times where this is what you will learn. Oh, I'm not good at this yet. Or I'm not good enough at this. I don't know what to do here. There will be times where you go, oh, okay, if I just slow it down, if I just really force myself to be present, good things come. There will come times where you don't even think about it, where showing up and responding to what shows up is just what you do, not a plan. And then, if you want to keep getting better, it's worth working with it. Like Tiger Woods blew up his golf swing 3 times when he was the #1 player in the world. Why would you do that? To get better. Now, part of getting better is you might get worse at first, because when you get conscious, you become self-conscious at first. When you shake things up, things are shaken up at first. But when they land different. You see different. And it's a different kind of stillness. We shall not cease from exploration, said T.S. Eliot, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Every time we leave home, when we come back, home is a deeper place, a more solid place. The goal is not to, what happened to Michael? He's meditating. When's he going to be done? 20 years. Okay. Like it's like that's not how it works. You know, I can't think. There's got to be some commercial for this, but it'd be like somebody who's secretly doing something and then kind of turns to the audience and goes, "I'm soaking in it now. Like I'm meditating now." Right? I'm wearing women's clothing now, right? Like it's this sort of like, you can do it right in the midst of everything else, and nobody has to know, right? Oh no, I want people to know because I want to think of me as spiritual, and I want them to think of me as a wise teacher. So I will make very clear, I will demonstrate my spirituality. I mean, f*** off. I'm not saying if this is helpful to you, don't do it. If it's helpful to you. How many of you, and it's okay if you're not, how many of you are meditating as you listen? You're in meditation. I don't mean you're doing anything. You're in a still, quiet place. We're made that way. It's not a requirement, it's an invitation. That space is always available, and you don't have to be still. Is it helpful when you're first playing with it to get still? Maybe. Is it necessary? No. Right? I described one of the deepest meditations I'd ever been in yesterday when I talked about being told off by my guru. Right? Like, that was awesome. You wouldn't think of that as an optimal meditation environment. But it was. Because this space of pure quiet, not that there's no noise, but the space. It's like there's the space and there's the noise, but the noise doesn't the space. Like, we're made of this. Every human being is made of, the entire universe is made of this formless nothingness. And that's not problematic, and it's not esoteric, it's ordinary. How can something which is ever present for every human being, for every tree, for every squirrel, for every flower, 100% of the time since the beginning of time, how can that be anything other than ordinary? But ordinary doesn't make it any less miraculous. You know what's common as muck? Having babies. Pretty much anyone can do it, one way or another. Right? You know what the biggest miracle I've ever experienced in my life was? My babies. There's no gap between ordinary and miraculous. Ordinary miracles is our stock in trade. But we think we have to chase extraordinary. We look to impress instead of impact. We look to look good instead of be good. And it's a waste of time. But it's okay. So most people do it most of the time. And we'll continue to do it until we notice. And then when we notice, we don't have to. Like, that's the beauty of it. It's not like you have to stop yourself from doing it. But if you notice you're doing it, you can stop. Like you ever have like a spot, a pimple, and you pick at it unconsciously, and then you notice and then you do, yeah, right? It's like that. Like, we just have these habits of thought. And we know they're unhelpful, and we just don't, and then when we notice, we stop. And we're right back. Good as new. No harm done. The space didn't go anywhere. You can't use up the batteries because it's plugged into the mains. You cannot, oh my God, how amazing is it that there is something on this earth that I cannot pick up? That my incompetence, my lack of understanding, my stupidity, my vanity, my ego, my personal ambition can't pick up the beautiful nature of the universe. I am so grateful for that. That's meaningful to me. That's what we all have. That's why it's not too late. Ever. I don't even know if it's too late when the body dies. I can't speak to that. But as long as this thing is functioning, and I don't mean like even you can walk. I mean, as long as this system is animated, it's here for you. You are this. Always have been. Always will be. And it is very easy to forget. And when we forget, life looks harder and more complicated. And each time we remember, life looks simpler and easier. And so it's kind of a decent feedback mechanism. If it's looking hard and complicated, I'm probably in my head. If it looks simple and easy, I'm probably being myself.